promised, we're starting a new playlist here on our little YouTube channel. And what we're going to be doing is creating a series of free videos where you can learn the basics of woodworking so that you too can try your hand at making beautiful things out of wood. So what are we going to do? We're going to start off with the most basic of carpenter's tools. What would you say is the most important tool to start with when you're building your first toolbox and filling it up with necessary things? Well, you might want to comment below. In fact, if you want to do so, you can comment now or at the end of the video. Tell me what you think of this series and of my choice for the first tool for a carpenter's toolbox. This is going to be for beginners. So if you are an experienced woodworker, then, well, feel free to watch. We, like I said, welcome your comment, your feedback, your suggestions on subject matter. But if you are truly a beginner, or if you've never even laid your hand on a piece of wood before but are interested, well, you're going to want to follow this series because we truly are going to go dive deep, start with the basics, build on your knowledge, your skills, and on the tools that we suggest you acquire and in the order that you acquire them. Well, how expensive is woodworking as a habit? Well, you could go and spend $5,000 on the right table saw if you wanted to go that way. We don't recommend that because what would happen if you went and bought that tool and then decided after your first project, you know, this just isn't for me. So what we recommend is you start simple, you start inexpensive, and you start to see results from your work by creating simple little projects that you can get enjoyment from yourself, and even better, that you can give to others so that they can enjoy your handiwork. So, that's being said, that's what this series is going to be about. Let's go back to what this video is going to be about. It's the first tool that I recommend to you get as a future carpenter. What is that? Well, you see me waving it around already a little bit with my gesturing. It's this, the simple carpenter's pencil. Well, why do we say that? And what makes a carpenter's pencil different from the one you might have used in school growing up? Well, first of all, why? Why the pencil? Well, the pencil is key to every other task you will ever do as a carpenter. It's good for marking, it's good for layout, it's good for just sketching an idea on a scrap piece of wood or a piece of paper. You'll need it for doing math. Sorry, if you don't like math, carpentry may or may not be for you. It is always going to be involved because we're going to get into that later. The principles of measuring, layout, and design. Let's address the second question I brought up this morning. What makes a carpenter's pencil different from a standard pencil you might have used in school? Let me hold this one up here a little bit closer to the camera and you will see the shape is significantly different. It is not round or octagonal, but it is flat, mostly fat. It's wider, significantly wider than it is thick. And you'll notice that it's got tapered corners, so it's easy on the hand. But you also notice that the shape of the wood is reflected by the shape of the graphite in the middle. It too is oblong in shape. So, what are the what's the benefit of this type of pencil when it comes to carpentry, woodworking, and other types of construction? Stick with me and we will talk about it. Okay, so we were talking about the benefits and the difference in design of a standard carpenter's pencil as opposed to the old number 2 that you might have used in school. These are readily available at any vendor, lumber supply, hardware store. Oftentimes, if you're buying enough material with them, they will probably just simply hand you a handful of these pencils just because they like you and because, of course, they've got their advertising on the pencil. Beside the point, let's go ahead and talk about this. Because of the shape of this pencil, it will not fit in a standard pencil sharpener that you may be used to with a little hand crank on the side, or sometimes they're even available today. They're electric. You just stick them in there and automatically it'll sharpen a little electric motor. So what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate how you can use your standard common utility knife to sharpen a carpenter pencil. So how do you do so? Well, first of all, you got to think about what are you going to use the pencil for? There are different ways to sharpen it based on what you're going to do for an activity. You could leave the point blunt, and that's very handy for marking rough surfaces like concrete, stone, brick, and otherwise if you're going to be doing masonry type work. You could sharpen it with what they call an offset point, and that's good for doing scribing when you're trying to fit, say, a piece of wooden material or a straight material against an irregular material like a stone veneer or a ceramic tile perhaps hasn't been laid perfectly flat. Today we're just simply going to focus on a simple sharpening technique that can be universally applied to any types of basic woodworking. So what you want to do first of all is you want to have a utility knife with a standard pointed blade, and you want your blade to be sharp. If this blade is dull, you're going to have a difficult time doing a nice job with sharpening the carpenter's pencil. So what you want to do is you want to take your pencil and hold it firmly in one hand. Take your knife with your other hand, and of course you always want to be cutting away from yourself, okay, in that direction. However, you don't have a lot of control this way, so you don't want to be pushing with this hand. This hand is simply holding the knife so that you can push the knife with your thumb right here and maintain much greater control over what the blade does. So you want to start back probably a good, I'm saying 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch, okay? And begin to whittle the wood away from you like that. And work your way carefully down until you expose the graphite like thus and so, okay? Now once you've done that, and while the graphite is still supported, I'm sorry, I'm kind of off camera here a little bit. If you notice how the graphite is still supported on both sides and on the back by wood, this is a great time to whittle down to where you've gotten close to the center of the graphite on this side, making it easier to come up with a sharpened final tip. So take some time and just kind of whittle down a bit. Okay, you see how I'm using my thumb. See if I can turn around this way, you can see it better. Okay, and just kind of sneaking up on the center of the graphite. If you see here, I'm probably about 1/3 of the way through the graphite right now. You want to be cutting it all the way back here, but just kind of whittling it down to a point. Okay? Now you want to turn the pencil around and do the same thing again. Come back probably 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch. And just ease up on the graphite, because this side is going to be less well supported since you're pulling all the wood away from behind it. Okay? Okay? You'll see there, it's not down to a knife's edge, but you've got a fairly good tip right there. You can clean it up just a bit more. Okay? Then as a last move, come back on the side and sneak up on it from the side. Again, being gentle. This graphite doesn't have a lot of strength of its own. It really needs to be supported by the wood. Okay? And what you have here, you put some finishing touches on the graphite, both sides. Clean it up, make it look pretty. And then just come back and ease the edge. These sharp edges on the corners, just come back and take a single pass just to ease that edge, all 4 sides. Okay. What you got there is a nice, sharp carpenter's pencil. You know, they say in the old days that a person oftentimes would apply for a job on a job site to be a carpenter, and the way a person was tested on their carpentry skills was to be watched at how well they sharpened a pencil. So when you master the ability to sharpen a carpenter's pencil in this way, you've really taken a major step forward in the beginning of your career or your hobby as a woodworker and carpenter. So what's the value of this? Well, if you notice how the graphite of the pencil is still nice and wide, the shape of the graphite allows you when you are scribing a line, say against the side of a ruler, okay? I don't know if you can see that or not. You see how fine that line is? That line, because of the shape of the lead, the sharpness of the lead is gonna, or graphite, is gonna last for a long time. And you're going to be able to make multiple lines because you have so much graphite to work with there. And here you are, 4, 5, 6 lines and longer. Take the camera off here, so pardon the jiggle for a minute. If you see those lines, the last one is just as fine as the first one. That will not be the case if you use a standard round number 2 pencil with a fine graphite in the middle of it. Either the tip will break or each line will get progressively fatter, which will make the accuracy. So, simple reason why the carpenter's pencil is called what it is, because it's designed for the use of a skilled carpenter. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Stick with me as we discuss further what can be done with this pencil in future videos with measuring, marking, cutting, laying out, and other handy uses for a carpenter's pencil. Thanks for your attention. While you're at it, before you leave the end of this video, make sure that you click below and subscribe, because many more of these videos are to come, and we hope they'll be of help to you. Please give me a thumbs up, comment, tell me what you liked, tell me what you'd like to see different. But yeah, we look forward to your engagement with us. Have a good day.